Next on Worcester News tonight, we'll hear from riders gearing up for the Pan Mass Challenge. The story is next. Plus, weeks after voters reject expansion plans, the state's largest landfill announces it will close. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Andrioli. The Pan Mass Challenge Bike-a-thon kicking off this weekend, and today thousands piled into the Host Hotel in Sturbridge ahead of the race. Cyclists from 41 states and 8 different countries will ride across Massachusetts, all for a good cause. Our Cam Jandro is live now and has more. Cam?
Catherine, in its 38th year, the Pan Mass Challenge has become one of the biggest bike-a-thons in the country. Today I caught up with a few participants to see who they were riding for.
The ride itself is just a collective inspiration.
Thousands of cyclists gear up Friday to kick off this year's Pan Mass Challenge. Many will spend their weekend riding from Sturbridge to Provincetown, raising money for cancer treatment and research at the Dana-Farber Institute.
It's so important to raise these critical funds for Dana-Farber for cancer research. Cancer touches almost every family in the world, and it's truly incredible to see everyone rally together for such a great cause.
More than 6,000 riders from across the world will pedal along courses ranging from 25 miles to 192 miles. Participant and cancer survivor Valerie Bradley says the PMC helped her move on from her cancer.
I had chemo for about 9 months and surgery on my left tibia to remove my tumor, and so couldn't play soccer anymore, and biking was kind of how I got back into sports.
In its 38-year history, cyclists have raised more than $500 million for cancer research. Riders Bruce Levy and Richard Hall lost a friend to the disease 10 years ago. The two longtime riders say they're happy to be part of such an inspirational event.
A lot of people are struggling with cancer, and a lot of people are here to support them and let them know that they're not alone, and it's great to be a part of it.
We will all feel invincible, and yet at the same time we understand we're raising money because there are so many people who are not invincible when it comes to cancer.
Now, rides kick off tomorrow morning with some as early as 5:30 a.m. Organizers of the event say tomorrow's goal is to raise more than $48 million over the course of the weekend. Catherine?
Thank you, Cam. In response to the recent incident in Auburn, Colonial Municipal Group is installing carbon monoxide detectors free of charge for any police utility vehicle purchased through their company. The company says they're going to install the same small carbon monoxide detectors that are commonly used in boats and mobile homes. They say they're doing this for the public's safety, and they take this issue very seriously to protect officers who spend much time working in their cars.
A marine grade that's in boats, small confined cabins, and we're using them. They use them in motorhomes as well. Right now, we're doing the utilities, police utilities that we have sold. This area, there's probably 20,000 of them. It's their office. They live out of it. They work out of it. So it is a big concern, and that's why, Colonial's doing what they can to help and make them feel safe.
And Auburn Police is planning on installing these carbon monoxide detectors in their vehicles, and Colonial Municipal Group says they are distributing their smoke detectors in their police vehicles across the country for free. After managing the landfill in Southbridge since 2003, Casella Waste Services announces they will be closing the facility next year. The site will officially close on December 31st of 2018. The 51-acre landfill brings in millions of dollars in revenue to the town of Southbridge, but many residents have been opposing the trash site for years. Brittany Schaefer reports.
It's the sound and the smell.
Like rotten eggs.
Dan Butler is tired of dealing with.
We can't even open our windows most of the year.
And now, after 5 years of fighting to close the landfill, Butler is going to see it happen.
Relief. Didn't believe it was true. Surreal. A small community like this should not be the state's largest landfill.
Casella Waste Systems announced they'll be closing the Southbridge landfill on the last day of 2018 after 15 years. It comes as a surprise to many, especially after the company was talking expansion with a question on the June ballot.
A group of us residents got together. We were concerned about, future expansion. We're done with it. We want it gone. We put some money together, had some signs made up, vote no on one.
We
ran a successful No One Won campaign back in June. We actually won 60% to 40%.
Town manager Ronald San Angelo says Southbridge will lose $4 million a year in revenue without the landfill, but it's something the community will have to work through.
There's good things about a landfill and bad things about a landfill. We are going to have challenges ahead because we're going to lose a lot of money, but we can deal with those challenges in a really positive way.
While some in town worry about the possible tax increase.
Lived here for about a year and just down the hill from the landfill and never had noticed any big problems with it. When it comes to taxes, it's always an important thing, whether it's lowering the taxes for a town.
Others are celebrating the news.
We had a little landfill going away party where, a lot of us that had been involved in this campaign, knocking on doors and doing all of the things that it took to pull out victorious, we all got together and, gave some hugs, little teary-eyed.
We're just normal people just wanting a good quality of life.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
And in a statement, Casella says, despite the significant investments in our environmental improvements and economic contributions over the last 14 years, we can no longer make a case, business or otherwise, to continue to invest hard-earned capital or develop a facility that offers little, if any, hope for a reasonable return on our resources and our attention. In other news, former priest and convicted pedophile Paul Shanley got out of prison a week ago, and today clergy sex abuse survivors are pushing to have Shanley taken off the streets. SNAP, the survivors network of those abused by priests, are calling on the Boston Archdiocese to have him placed in a secure treatment facility. The 86-year-old, who now lives in Ware, served 12 years for child rape. Many in Worcester were getting their quick picks tonight in hopes of hitting the lottery jackpot. Many were lining up at gas stations to buy their Mega Millions or Powerball tickets, with some people buying both. The winnings for tonight's Mega Millions jackpot has climbed to $323 million. And tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is now at $286 million. Those we spoke with say they're hoping to get a chance at winning the big bucks.
I hope so. I need money. Of course, everybody does, but yeah, I'm hoping I'm getting lucky. I'd be happy if a lot of people won it instead of just one person.
Mega Millions and Powerball lotteries are each played in 44 states. State police are identifying the woman killed in a wrong-way crash early this morning. Troopers say 22-year-old Danielle Richmond of Millbury was traveling south on the northbound side of Route 495 in Hopkinton. Just after 5 this morning, police say the woman was pronounced dead on the scene. Allie Donnelly has been digging into the staggering number of crashes on our highways.
Was over in 4 minutes.
It happens very quickly.
From the first frantic 911 call reporting a woman driving the wrong way on 495 North to the moment her Nissan Altima slammed into a man's Honda pickup just before 6 this morning.
It's graphic, it's tragic, it's unbelievable.
The woman died on scene. The man seriously hurt.
We don't frequently have wrong way crashes there, so I would think that this might be a crash that was caused by some sort of operator error as opposed to a roadway error.
As the NBC Boston investigators first told you in January, since 2011, at least 23 people have been killed and at least 112 hurt in wrong-way crashes across the state. We say at least because Massachusetts doesn't track wrong-way crashes, and the data the state does release is only current through 2014.
It's hard to figure out sometimes if the people involved in the crash have passed to figure out what has happened.
After our original investigation, the chair of the Joint Committee on Transportation asked for an emergency law requiring the state to launch a program to better prevent these horrific crashes. Representative William Strauss calling it necessary for the immediate preservation of the public safety. 8 months later, that bill is still sitting in committee. MassDOT tells us they've hired a consultant and are in the initial planning stages of designing a pilot program that will explore the feasibility of an electronic detection system. Like in Rhode Island. State officials there say since they installed the flashing warning systems at 24 of their worst sites, dozens of drivers have self-corrected.
We've had 0 crashes, 0 injuries, 0 fatalities.
Do you think we're behind?
At this point, given the fact that we're in 2017 and Rhode Island was able to move it forward in 2015, I would say that we are. Some of those lives may have been saved if we were moving forward on this.
Allie Donnelly, Worcester News Tonight.
If you plan on watching the total solar eclipse later on this month, some eye doctors want to make sure you do it safely. Looking directly at the sun is not safe, except during the brief total phase of the solar eclipse. This is when the moon entirely blocks the sun's face. UMass Memorial Medical Center's chief of ophthalmology says the only safe way to look directly at the uneclipsed or partially eclipsed sun is through special purpose solar filters. She says ordinary sunglasses or even very dark ones are not safe.
So regular sunglasses, unfortunately, are not going to work. Regular sunglasses have UV filters, but you need a much stronger filter. So it's very thick glasses, and if you put them on, you can't see anything. If you put them on for driving, you can't see anything.
Dr. Schall says children should be especially safe when watching an eclipse because their eyes are more